and welcome back to Animals Matter. Almost 30 years ago, Australian ethicist Peter Singer wrote a book called Animal Liberation. Now, that book became an international bestseller and changed the way that many people regard non-human animals. It also sparked off the formation of animal liberation groups around Australia and similar groups around the world. Today, Peter Singer works at Princeton University, New Jersey, but I caught up with him during a visit to Melbourne.
I wrote Animal Liberation because I became aware of what was happening to animals, what people were doing to animals, and started thinking about the ethics of this, about, what is it that entitles us to use animals just as things for food or to experiment on or for entertainment or whatever else it might be. When I realised that really there's nothing that justifies us in doing that this is a huge wrong that is done to beings who are in our power, I felt that I wanted to tell the world about it.
Having presented such a radical view to the public, what was their initial reaction and how has that reaction changed over the last 2 decades?
Well, at first the reaction was a bit slow, I think. It got some very nice reviews in a lot of newspapers around the world, particularly, I guess, in the United States and in Britain and also in Australia. But there was no movement then. There was no animal movement to pick it up. So it was a bit slow in gathering steam. It took 3 or 4 years before people started talking about it and developing animal rights or animal liberation groups. And then it gradually expanded, started to snowball. And whereas it might have taken 2 or 3 years to sell the first 10,000 copies, pretty soon it was selling 20 or 30,000 or 40,000 in a single year. So it actually was a bit of a sleeper that gathered steam as it went along. And I'm glad to say it's continued to sell, and it's never been out of print in the 28 years that it's now been published.
And how do you see the future for the animal movement?
The animal movement has been around now for a long time. It's been growing in strength. It's been growing in public support and public sympathy. The number of vegetarians and vegans has been increasing, and I think people are more aware of what we do to animals. And ordinary people don't like it when they realise how we confine animals in factory farms or the things that we do to them in labs. They're not comfortable with it. So I think we are making progress. I think the European Union is showing the way in its abolition of a lot of the confinement practices and factory farming. And I think the rest of the civilised world will follow. They'll see that they don't need to exploit animals in this way, and it'll take a lot more time because it's a big change that we're talking about, but I think we will get there.